Hey Lisa, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine. A bit hot.
Yeah. How was your
Very,
show?
very hot. I had to. It was great. Yeah, really good. I just had to just go and get a glass of wine and cool down.
Cheers,
Just popped
Rich.
outside for a second. Yeah, cheers, cheers.
Cheers, guys. I was
Cheers.
saying I can't believe it's actually hot where you are because that's not very common, but we're
It's
having some nice
boiling.
weather.
It's boiling. Yeah, I just got the fan on. I'm just turning it up to 8. Yeah. How did many people come over from the radio show?
Yeah, I think we still got about 100 tuned in. So welcome everyone who was watching the radio show. We are totally happy to take any questions. Rich, you've been involved with Record Shop since before the beginning.
I have.
So now you're bringing on Federation. So how has that journey been?
Brilliant. I mean, it's really great to be able to do it. It's well, as you know, with traditional ways of releasing records, it's very, very limited in what you can do, especially, with the whole COVID thing. When we actually decided to record the album, and we brought the band back together, and we decided to make an album, and it was all very exciting. And now, all the stuff that we did to in the making of the album, the original demos we did, and all the different versions, and when we sat down together and we discussed the album, and we've been able to put that all together into this really fabulous, like, deluxe edition with Record Shop that we would never be able to do in any other way. The days have gone when you can kind of bring out a book and things like that. So we've got we did a commentary. Can you hear my fan? Is it making a lot of noise?
It's a little noisy.
I can hear it. It's your biggest fan.
No, my biggest fan is Gav. I don't know whether no, Gav is here. Gav's my biggest fan. Yeah, so it's really, really great. I mean, Federation, where's Ben, by the way?
He's just trying to get connected.
He's traveling, so he's just I think he's close. He's close.
He's close. Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't know what Dave said, but we just decided to reboot the whole Federation thing after 6 years off of weekend. We still kept in touch and stuff, but it's been amazing doing it, and we're all completely in love with the album as well, and we really, really excited for it to be released. And as I said, this Record Shop edition is it's really something special. I hope people are gonna enjoy the whole thing of collecting certain collectibles in order to get the specials, like the pub lunch with Federation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for everyone who's listening, one of the specials you can get, one of the reward cards with the drop on Record Shop is to have a pub lunch with us.
Nice.
Either
That's awesome.
real pub lunch or a virtual one, depending on where you are in the world. Because we love our pub lunches, don't we, Dave?
We do. Hopefully we'll be as entertaining company as we think we are. There's a lot of bad jokes, dad jokes and bad jokes.
Do you remember that pub lunch we had? Wasn't the last time we were together, but the time before, and it was really, really hot, and I think I got really, really drunk very quickly, and I was lying down on the bench and trying to decide whether or not to have pudding.
We did have pudding, and it was insanely hot. I don't know, and then I don't think we got much done in the studio after that. But we had the next day. We're always really productive in the studio, despite hot weather, too much food, a few too many drinks in the pub. We always seem to pull it out. It's been a really great experience, as you say, putting this album together. And I was just saying before you joined that it's actually it's kind of been 10 years in the making, and the final track on the album is, I think, the oldest. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Rich, but in the sense of the ideas and the original kind of rough composition, which is a really nice way to sort of lead up to that.
Born to be Loved. That was
Born to Be Loved.
I think that was the second or third track that Ben and I wrote when we first started doing Federation together, and we had this great demo, and it sat there throughout the whole sort of 10 years, and then we decided to finish it for the album. I was just looking on the chat. There's people here from Mexico. Jesus Lira is here from Mexico. Hi, Jesus. And lots of names on there who I recognise. John Cockcroft is here. Sarah, Kiz is here. Yeah, we sent out the first batch of CD orders yesterday or the day before. So anybody who ordered a CD from the Solar Shop, it is on the way. And that's probably a lot of people in the chat there.
I think I saw Claire's Accessories further up. He's joined in, Rich.
Yeah, he did that brilliant mix of Venus.
He did, yeah. So check that out if anyone hasn't heard it yet.
So
but yeah,
while we're waiting for Ben, has anybody got any questions they wants us to answer?
We did get a question from GT Russell asking where the vocal sample from the other side is from, the speech sample.
That's one for Ben.
That's one for Ben. We've used, so in the album you might spot samples from Twin Peaks, from a Lars von Trier film, and we used, I think there's one from a documentary on, actually I'm not gonna give the wrong answer, I'll wait for Ben to confirm it. I think the one on the other side is from Antichrist, but
there's one really dark sample we used in on the new version of New Religion we did. And just as the track is fading out, I don't know if anybody, this is a very dark thing, but I don't know if anybody remembers there was that big scandal about the Americans using drones in I think it was Iraq, and there was this pilot and he dropped this this guy, he took somebody out and he started singing Bye Bye American Pie.
Yeah.
And we used that at the end.
Is that where that's from?
Yeah.
Even I don't know where that came from. That was accidental. That was on the end of some audio or something you had.
It was in tune with the track, so it's quite dark, because that track is very... The lyrics are very dark, aren't they? Victor from Mexico says, I'm awesome. Thanks,
I would love to know where everybody's tuning in from. We're getting a lot from Mexico, from Portugal. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm up here in Canada.
Where are you from, Dave?
I'm in Cambridgeshire at the moment. Whereabouts in Canada are you?
Near Toronto.
Ah, okay. Lovely.
Oh, we've got Marco from Guadalajara. What a beautiful place. We love that part of the world, me and Paula. Paula's actually sitting outside. She's keeping an eye on everything out there. She did the Twitter track list today. That now playing thing wasn't working on my radio show today very well, so she was keeping everybody informed of what I was playing.
Shout out to Maracek, who's he's logged in from, or she's logged in from Prague. Prague is amazing. Nice. Alex from Portugal.
Lucy's here. Hi, Lucy. Yeah. And Gavin.
Stone Terminal's on. Hey.
Oh, the guys are here. I played 2 of their tracks on the radio show today.
I saw that, yeah.
And we did a few collectibles from Stoneface and Terminal, didn't we? On a record shop, which did extremely well. I was chatting to them today, actually. I've just done we did this track, Mist on the Hill. Oh, Ben's here.
Ben's sideways.
Hey, sorry, guys.
Well, they're definitely travelling.
I know. Why don't we let you?
I'm driving. I'm trying to find some better internet. Wait till I usually stop to get internet.
Ben's hanging in there like a bat.
All right, Ben. Why don't we let you? Why don't we let you go get connected, and we'll just log back in once you've parked and found somewhere to tune in from.
So what I was saying then was, with regards to Stoneface and Terminal, we did a track on Pure Trance 9 called Mist on the Hill, and I've just finished my own version of it, and I sent it over to them this morning. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Federation. Marianne says, the thing I've always loved about Federation is how it perfectly intersects the darker gothic rock feel and dance, and she's been a fan since Black Tide. From Johannesburg. Paula and I are going to be in Johannesburg. In a bit, we're on for our honeymoon after we get married.
Is that where you're going? Oh, amazing, Rich.
I've got a gig there. We decided to make a little holiday of it, a honeymoon. So I think the gig is They'll get married on August the 14th, and I think the gig is the following weekend.
Oh, amazing. Well, I think that Marianne sums up the Federation sound perfectly there. That is, at least that's how I see it. I always send Rich about 50 guitar parts, and he somehow manages to pull them all apart, find the music, and make it work.
Yeah, do.
You always berate me for sending a stupid number of ideas, but yeah, you find the melody.
You send them wet and dry though, don't you? You send me like your ding a ding a ding a ding a ding, and then you send it without the effects, and then you send me a left version and a right version. And
Yeah, it's like that YouTube craze where people put like a really bad dry guitar over someone doing an impressive solo. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. This is what the edge.
Hopefully, no one ever
like
hears
now.
those bits. Yeah, never release those.
I was actually listening to some of the demo versions yesterday of the tracks, and some of them are very complete, aren't they? Like Leatherheart and stuff like that. They're very, I'm thinking, did I actually contribute anything?
Well, Leatherheart's an interesting one because that's been through so many different. We've interpreted that a few different ways, and that was originally, I think somewhere that is included as a collectible. I forget whereabouts, but there's a super early version that's from a tape, from a cassette.
Is that the one that we're using?
Yeah, and that's by far the earliest thing I ever had to do with Federation, because I don't think I even showed you some of those. This is I actually bought a multi-track tape recorder to get that. So I've put a lot of effort, and it's probably hasn't been worth the effort, but when I found the cassette at home, I thought that's the original kind of guitar riffs that I built up the courage to send to you and Ben after I'd worked on a couple of tunes in the really early days.
The courage.
Well, because it's so.
Dave is such an amazing guitarist. On the album, there's a track called Leave the War Behind, and I think there's an instrumental version of that. Is there a demo? No, there's not a demo of that. And we were just like coming to the end of producing the track, and I said to Dave, do a guitar solo, Dave. This bit really needs a guitar solo. And he was like, okay. And I plugged it in and I hit record, and he just did it. And he did this guitar solo, and he did it once, and I was like, brilliant, that's it.
I think that, yeah.
Following, he was saying, I've got to redo that guitar solo. We can't use that. I'm sure I can do something better. And he sent me over all these new versions, and I was like, no, I still like the one that you just did without thinking about it. Yeah,
that's a true story. I think that might well have been after a Federation pub lunch full of unnecessary chocolate pudding or apple crumble or one of these very British puddings, and you said just do a solo, and I think I was only messing around. I don't even think I knew what the key was, because Rich has created this amazing kind of euphoric outro section on that tune, and we played around, and you'd actually really kind of built the whole second half ending of that track, and you just it was kind of a joke, but that's often how it happens. The things you try for just being silly, and it ends up being the thing that's right.
It's such a good solo. I can't wait to hear what people think of the album, because I haven't seen any feedback from people yet. I guess it's too early to say. I'm just going to turn off these lights because they're a bit intrusive.
No problem. We've been hearing someone commented earlier that they're getting some Nine Inch Nail vibes. It's very dark. I know you've described it like spider web. So it sound like totally my shit. I'm really excited to get the drop on the record shop.
It's definitely got that kind of industrial early 90s influences from Nine Inch Nails and Ministry.
We were all there at the time.
Yeah, that's our sort of our youth, isn't it? So I'm glad that comes through, and it's great. There are a lot of kind of underground and not so underground genres now that really bring that into a kind of modern take. I would say everyone from Grimes through to all the dance genres bring it in. I think that people are embracing that gothic industrialness. It's no longer a kind of It's no longer underground, in my opinion.
How do you reply using Reach? Because somebody's did a message here, and I've not used this before, and I'm trying to reply to them. What do you do?
I think if you click on their name, that doesn't seem to work.
It says reply, and I click reply, and then nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Sorry, you're just gonna have to reply with your voice, I think.
Oh right, yeah. Danny Walker was just saying. Last time I saw you live was at a club called Aftermoon in Bangkok. I do remember that very much because was that the one where we were sucking the gas out of the balloons? Or maybe that was Vietnam. No, I do remember Aftermoon in Bangkok. I remember that gig because it was a really terrible gig. I know. Well, it wasn't a terrible gig, but I remember the crew who brought me over. They just weren't interested. All they wanted to do was party. And at the end of the gig, I had no way of getting back to the hotel or anything. So I just decided to walk, and I ended up in this proper like red light area. And I bumped into this guy who knew who I was, and so we ended up having some beers and stuff. But it was kind of quite frightening, actually.
I'm glad you were safe. Paula's covering her ears that you're in the red light district.
She's all right. She doesn't mind.
I know Paula's tuned in. We're just waiting for Ben to reconnect. I'm getting a little bit of feedback again from you, Dave.
From me?
Yeah. John Cockcroft is asking if any of the tracks got a pure mix treatment.
No, I haven't got. To be honest, I don't really try to. I know why you're saying that, but I try to. The overlap between Solarstone and Federation is a really funny thing, and I know I did the pure mix of Innocent Desire back in the day, and that's because that was kind of something I wanted to do at the time. But now I just don't know, because we're trying to kind of reach a bit of a different audience with Federation. You know, that's one of the reasons why this new album is so stripped down. We intentionally made the tracks really, really stripped down so that we were able to perform them live. And I kind of feel as if we were to go too far down the road of like mainstream trance mixes, then it would make Federation something that it kind of isn't. Which track do you think I should do the remix of?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
Gotta hear that. And we've heard from Elright Twitch, planning any live gigs at all?
That's the plan, isn't it, Dave? The plan is to do some shows, but we'd really like to play at some big festivals, really. Things like Dreamstate. They do like a Psy edition of Dreamstate, and it'd be really good to get on the bill of something like that. We're working on it. You know, the intention was to get the album complete and then put the thing out there and see who's interested, you know?
Yeah, I think, and it's been a conscious move to keep the sound economic and concise, and not be too overblown, as you say, Rich. Like, to produce it up fully so it's a bit more main room would then make it a very different thing to how we see it as a band or potentially live. So, and I think it and because of that, I think it has its own sound, and it would be so much fun to do live.
We tried to keep it so that it's so stripped back. The tracks are all so stripped back that there's basically a rhythm track, a bass track, a guitar track, a synth track, and a vocal. So we can reproduce it live. You know, in the earlier Federation stuff, it was much more. There was much more layers, but whereas this time we've really stripped it back. We kept on taking things out and taking things out and taking things out, but making each element, you know, a bigger element. Like each track has got like a big synth riff or a big guitar riff or something in it, and then we've kind of kept it at that level so that when we do the live show, it's going to sound,
yeah, you know,
it's going to sound. Ben's back.
Ben's back. He's sideways.
Hey, I'm really struggling with it. You got me?
I got you.
We
You got me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, all the usual spots where all the usual spots where I stop off and get internet. Even my work isn't working, so I'm now in a car park. I seem to have a bit of internet, but it's soft law, isn't it? You guys okay? Thanks for holding the fort. Everything.
We've been just waiting silently for you to get connected.
Everybody, this is Ben. This is our singer and lyricist and most gorgeous member of the band. Clearly.
The hair.
I'll
it's the
accept that,
hair.
Rich.
I know, Dan.
We're
We
joint
just-
second.
He's just freeze framed on that lovely grin of his.
I gotta remember that question that we got about the lyrics. I'm just scrolling back up through the comments. Do you remember what track it was that they were asking about?
Oh yeah, there was a question for you, Ben, around I think it was The Other Side, what the sample is, and we were talking about the samples that we've used on the album. So there was a question: what sample?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's so the first, yeah, that's the sample from Antichrist. There's the first one's from Twin Peaks, and the third one's from Philip K. Dick, isn't it? Which kind of
We can hear your keys,
encapsulates,
Ben.
isn't it? About the it's very earthy but very sort of transcendent, and she's kind of I won't do any spoilers, but she disappeared into the woods to kind of get over some sort of horrendous tragedy, and she kind of disappears into nature, and gets she builds like quite a sort of strange hut in the middle of the woods, and kind of like really gets sort of deep into herself and into the muck, in a way to kind of transcend that, and that kind of in many ways encapsulates kind of what a lot of the album themes are about. So with that sitting in the middle, it kind of it's kind of a fulcrum really that kind of encapsulates all of it in many ways. But I recommend you watch the film. It's
a little put the pearls of wisdom from Ben's car park or wherever he is.
He does this though, doesn't he? When we're together, he'll go off on one, and we just end up sitting there like, how are you telling us about transcendence, Ben?
It works though. It somehow works. We
Something
trust in it,
wondering
don't we?
about
And it comes together.
Yeah, you're running very behind Ben for some reason. Connection fails in the jungle.
sorry, am I lagging?
Yeah, you're
Little
lagging a bit. Loads of people in the chat, Ben. People from all over the world here.
Hi, hello everyone. Where have we got people from?
South
All
America,
over-
Mexico,
all over
the
Europe.
world.
Yeah. All over the Americas.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Brazil, that is somewhere we really need to do some gigs, because we've always
Yeah, I
had a
love
lot of fans in that part of the world, haven't we? I think if we can get onto some kind of festival thing in Brazil, Argentina, that would be perfect for the band, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it would be great to
that'd be
go to South
amazing.
America,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? So good.
So who's got some
it's in many ways actually South America. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Ben, carry on.
I was going to say, because South America, they're really into like the post-punk, and they've got a big like sort of Smiths contingent down there, haven't they? Like, which kind of like covers both our kind of our demographics in lots of ways, doesn't it? So yeah, South America is the destination for us, surely.
I think so. Ben, I think if you stopped moving around, it would help.
I'm trying to find the perfect bit of 4G. I know it's around here somewhere.
I think it's safe to say
Occasionally I get it and then it
you've
goes.
not found it yet.
I'm like I'm riding a wave, but like I keep falling off.
We've got
we got
somebody
a
here from
question.
Buenos Aires.
Nice.
Buenos Aires. That
Buenos
is somewhere we need to go. Argentina, right?
Yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
When I was doing Pure Energy, we ended up on a Psy stage. I think it was in Buenos Aires with it, and that would have been that would be perfect for Federation. I think, you know, the impact of it.
Yeah. That'd be
Petition
awesome.
your local promoters, guys.
Yeah.
Rory from Scotland is asking what your favorite compressor for taming big synth sounds would be.
That's one for me, I suppose, isn't it? It depends on the sound. It really depends on which sound I'm trying to tame. I use a lot of UAD stuff, so I use a Fairchild a lot on synths. But I also use the SSL compressor series as well. I actually picked up a SSL L or UL1 or something like that, like a controller for the. Oh, what a boring conversation. Next question.
You use a lot of saturation, actually, Rich. That's one way you kind of tame things. I've noticed when I've been in the studio with you, like careful use of that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about the new album is, like I was saying before, where we try to have as less elements as possible. The synth elements that we have in there are really heavily, they're really heavily saturated, and there's loads and loads of dirt going on with those sounds because we want to make them really big. And oh my God, there's a guy that I was at school with. Oh, Gary. All right, Gary. Gary Scouse. Gary Jones is here in the chat. I haven't seen him since school. Nice to see you, Gary. Throw me that. So that was the answer anyway. Yeah. Sorry, Lisa.
Nice. No, great. I'm just checking on some of the other comments. Jackson is wondering your greatest hit music out there, or your favorite music between 1989 to today.
1989. That's quite specific to today.
Very specific.
I like it though.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of really great music came out in 1989, just at the very end of the 80s. What would you say, Rich? What would be if you had to? That's it. That's a long time. 1989 to today.
That is a long time.
Yeah, that's.
I think. Did he say 89?
89.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time ago, isn't it? Jesus. Your greatest.
Oh, that era was great, actually, isn't it? Like early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s Depeche Mode, and the Cure were really into their stride then as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the big influences for us, right? The early 90s trance, early mid 90s trance.
Yeah, all the early trance stuff, all the old Protocol techno. It's coming around sort of 91, 92, wasn't it?
I think we should go a little bit more techno for the next bunch of tracks we do.
I'll be up for that, yeah.
I think, yeah.
Pounding kick drum and really dirty bass and guitar, and then some disgusting.
I don't think there's much guitar in techno. We've managed to squeeze it into trance. I don't know whether it's.
It just means stripping just means changing the percussion in what we're doing a little bit. I did actually do that on one of the tracks on the album. Sorry, Ben, you going to say?
So I think guitars work really well now. If we were doing more like our track, you got the chemistry wrong, where we sort of did that guzzy metal like style guitars with tech. That would work really well, I think. That'd be quite a beautiful marriage, I think.
I think so too. Dave's guitars, because he's got that. What's that bit in Leatherheart?
That's actually really hard to play, because I think you've sampled that in the way that a lot of in the way that Ministry used to write their riffs and then they'd sample them, wouldn't they? So that it had that kind of repetitive, jolting vibe. And it's only when I tried to play it like live when we did a few kind of test shoots, do you remember? And I was like, this is actually really hard. It's really hard to keep it up at that tempo.
You're right.
But it sounds great.
What were we talking about? Favorite records, Ben's. What are your favorite records? 89 to 2000.
Favorite records. Favorite records from that era. Actually, I've been listening to Ultra Depeche Mode a lot recently. I think it was 97. I've been listening since Andrew Fletcher died. Actually, I've been on a real Depeche Mode trip. I've been listening to loads of their stuff again. That really, I think they're a band that we kind of draw quite a lot of influences on because they kind of have that crossover.
Did you hear what I played as a chill out moment in the show today?
Oh no, what did you play?
Do you remember Martin Gore's Counterfeit EP?
Ooh, I don't know if I do actually.
1987, I think. He did this 6-track.
What was the song that Stanley Jam, didn't he? Yeah. I never listened to his solo stuff. I'll check it out.
It's 6 cover versions, and I played Never Turn Your Back on Mother Earth.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I have to check that out.
Okay. I love his voice. I love his songwriting. He's great, isn't he?
He's got that high vibrato, hasn't it? I used to be able to do a good impression of Martin Gore, but the last time I tried to do it, it sounded more like Peter Gabriel.
If you could remix a song, Rich, from the early 90s, what would it be? A band, like something that would very far away from dance would suit a dance remix. What would it be?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, because we've had this conversation in the pub so many times. I'm putting you on the spot now.
I've never got an answer for you then. To do a remix of something that was completely nothing to do with dance music.
Yeah. Wait, you've actually in some of your sets recently, in it, you've there's a couple of cheeky. Who did you use? Was it REM? You kind of had an edit of that, didn't you?
Oh, Losing My Religion, yeah. Losing My Innocent Desire.
That's so good. That works so brilliantly.
I'd like to do Adam and the Ants. Lisa's like, huh? My favourite band from the early 80s. They did Stand and Deliver. Your money or your life. Whoa, Gary knows that one. Don't you, Gary?
I'm terrified of that.
Bruno in the chat here was just asking about the new album. Do you want to tell us a little bit about F?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Actually, it would be good to get Ben's take on the 3 sections that I talked about earlier, because I was saying I think that's not done so much nowadays, but where you've got like the album has like a proper intro and then it has these kind of interlude moments. But Ben, you had you were just giving it to me and Rich, your vision of how that works. I mean, it happened naturally, but the kind of, how did you say, the head, the thorax, like the head, the
head,
body,
abdomen, and the thorax. Yeah. It's like 3 parts of it. I mean,
what's your kind of take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like there's 3 parts and they haven't each got their own character, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It still feels like they're all kind of part of the same creature, because they are. I guess with some concept albums where you have it like split up like that, they've each got their, like one bit's kind of more relaxed or one bit's kind of more whatever. Whereas this, when you think about the kind of the journey from start to finish, kind of especially, I mean, I guess the third portion where you've got Ask and I guess we're at our most experimental there, aren't we? The sort of we've got that, and just because you can't remember, where we're trying a lot of new things we haven't tried before. So I guess you could say the thorax, if you want to call it the thorax, is the kind of as our most playful and trying new things. But then we bring it all back with Be There, and then we finish with Born to Be Loved. It was actually the first thing we ever did, wasn't it? In 2011, which is mental, right?
We used the original. We used the original vocals from that version, and then we layered a new vocal take over the top, didn't we? So you've got all the original harmonies. Ben's voice was like, it sounded quite different back then. It was a bit higher. Now it's more gruff. It's got more meat. He sounds like he's been gargling gravel for a while.
Yeah, it did sound really boyish, actually. That first vocal demo, like singing over the top of it, it's like it's me as an old 10 years of fags kind of probably, but 10 years of like living. I do sound a lot older, like compared to that voice of the, even though I was, it's only 10 years ago, my voice has definitely changed a lot in those 10 years. And you could really hear it there, couldn't you? It was funny. Yeah. It's good that we actually kept those vocals in as well. So
to all of the Americans,
and we kept the original guitar
in.
Fags,
he means cigarettes.
Yeah.
He's not been hanging out around the toilet.
Yeah, and those as well, actually. Yeah.
So we touched on it a little bit before, but do you want to talk about the event or your free NFT that you have out right now, and your event that you're doing on the 30th, on June 30th? Dave or Solar or Rich?
Ooh, yeah.
Or
we said that's next week, so that's a listening party. which will just be amazing. I've tried not to listen to the album, so I'm really looking forward to it, like to hear it in its, you know, in that environment where it's kind of have a bit of distance from it and get a new context. I think it's the 30th, right? Like, which
Lisa,
is.
can you explain to people what the technical setup of that is going to be?
Yeah. So for the you have to pick up the free NFT on Record Shop. I'm gonna drop the link again on Twitch. I'll drop it to in the Record Shop Twitch there. But you can also pick it up on the website. So from there, once you get that free NFT, you are basically entered into one of the spots because it's a limited event. We've already had almost 4,000 people pick up the free NFT. I think you have less than 1,000 spots in the private event. So we're going to draw some names and we'll have, it's going to be a private listening party. We'll do Zoom or something similar to that so that it's really going to feel very intimate. And you just get to hear from the guys as they listen to the tracks. You can talk over it, do all just tell us about what your process in creating it. I'm so excited for that event.
Yeah, that's going to be nice, isn't it? We should all go to the pub and do it there.
Well, Ben's halfway to the pub now. So.
Yeah. Why are you in the car park, Ben?
What's what?
Why are you in the car park?
I'm in the car. Oh, mate, all the places I usually stop off to try and like get some internet. Because it's the only place I can get any internet at the moment. I mean, I can't even, I can't get it anywhere. Like, all the places I usually get internet are fine.
What's wrong with your house?
Ain't happening tonight. It's Sod's Law, isn't it? But...
Are you at work?
It's too far away from work. I've got to do a night shift after this. I've got to do a 12-hour night shift in, like, half an hour. So I've got to commute, so I've got to come to work and do that. So I couldn't do it at home because I'd be too far away.
So this, we've we did this free NFT drop. Was it yesterday, Lisa, on the album release? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we've done this free NFT drop, which pretty much anybody can have, and that is the introduction to the digital NFT or digital collectible edition of the album, which is dropping on the 8th of July, Lisa?
Yes.
On the 8th of July, yeah. And well, maybe we should talk about what's contained in that drop for people. People who are familiar with Record Shop, they'll have seen the things we've done before, the Solarstone stuff with the rare tracks and the versions of tracks that are only available and the artwork and stuff like that. So for the F album, we've really, really tried to think about what we can do that would make this special. You know, how could we make this something that fans would really, really love to have? And one of the great things about the drop is the handwritten lyrics, which Ben did, didn't you, Ben?
Yep, got those, yeah. So we've got you can get that as an NFT, and then I think there's some versions where you can actually get the original lyrics posted out to you, can't you? There's the
actual handwritten lyrics, yeah. And there's a stencil or something, Ben.
Yeah, we've got the all the lyrics printed out on some nice paper with a Federation F stencil sprayed over the top, and they'll be limited as well. I think there's going to be 50 of those, and we'll post those out as well, and then you can frame them or do whatever you want once they arrive. But it'll be very limited and a nice physical, tangible thing for you to have. You can put it on your bathroom wall or whatever you want to do once you get it. But it'll be a very, very rare and very very nice.
Ben's actually going to physically put those together for you. So we're trying to combine the digital, the digital collectibles with some physical stuff as well. So you've got the album, you've got the segued version of the album, which is a special version that you can only get from Record Shop, like a segued MP4 with artwork and stuff. And then you've got all the tracks. The actual album itself is segued together. So we're also giving you all the tracks in their original form, plus instrumentals as well of the vocal tracks, which I know a lot of people like. And we've got loads of like little videos and pieces of artwork and things like that, haven't we? And then there's a commentary where the three of us, we listened to the album and then we just talked about making the album, didn't we? And like that.
It was at the moment we just finished it, I think, and we wanted to hear it back. We were so excited, and we thought, well, let's put the mic on and talk about that as we were experiencing it, and hopefully hopefully it's interesting.
And
We're
then,
not just
of course,
patting ourselves on the back.
and then we've got the experiences as well, which are, there's a few, aren't there? But the one that I mentioned before, which a lot of you probably didn't hear about, was the pub lunch with Federation, where we can go to the pub and we'll buy you lunch, and if you're somewhere not here, then we can do a virtual one as well. Somebody's asking,
Yeah.
what's our favourite behind the scenes memory from creating this album? That's Tommy.
I can tell you my least favourite, which is kind of the same
I
question.
know what this is.
Is it sort of the same?
It's sort of the other end of the same question. My least favourite is during a photo shoot. Ben said, "Hey, in the 90s when people would have, like, I'd be giving you a piggyback or something." It was like trying to reference some kind of British indie bands from the early 90s. So I thought, okay, great. And I jumped on Ben's back and, like, pulled a muscle somewhere. I don't really know where that muscle is, but yeah, I jangled the chains pretty bad it made it for a very stressful couple of days after that in the studio. So that was my least favourite moment, which isn't the same question.
He was constantly saying, "I've de-sleeved my penis."
It's all fine. It's all fine, but that's
Good.
What was your favourite behind the scenes memory, Dave?
I think my favourite was after the first time we were able to meet up after the pandemic had hit, and I hadn't seen you, Rich, in maybe 3 years. It had been quite a long time. I can't think maybe it was like a Federation rehearsal a few years ago before that. We'd probably been in touch, sending messages, and we definitely sent files to each other. But that first time we met up at your studio, and just that first hug, and just thinking, these are my guys. It was really emotional, actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy.
You did, yeah. So there's a comedic element to it. Yeah, no, that was my favourite moment by far, actually. And finishing the album, that was also that was super cool. Like getting it done and then doing that commentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's yours, Ben? What was your favourite moment from behind the scenes memory from creating the album?
I really liked it when we'd pretty much finished now, and we were getting some photos done, and we all had a good few drinks, and we got the strobe out, and we got all the incense burning, and we were down in your basement, just like, I love all that stuff, just like trying to kind of just sort of capture a kind of because we needed some photos, and we were like just sort of playing around, and that was a really good fun day, because the pressure was off, and we just knew we'd pretty much broken the back of the album. We'd done almost all of it, and it was just trying to get everything together to sort of start presenting it, and we didn't really know how it was all going to look at that time, but it was a good fun sort of like stress-free day of just playing, like having a laugh, like just messing around and going to the pub and coming back, and then going, oh, let's try this, so let's go down here, and because you've got all those like different rooms down below your house, which are just like great for creating a mood.
I've got catacombs beneath my house.
Yeah.
We decided to film this footage of us in this dingy little room, and I discovered when we were doing it that one of my cats had been crapping in the corner of this room for like a year, and there was all this dried up cat droppings in the corner of the room. I was like, should we get them out? Should we move them, or should we just work around them?
I remember we had that strobe on, and I stood back, and there was just all this kind of like Rich's various stock and label stuff from the years, and I looked, and I was actually standing on an old Solarstone DAT tape, and I was like, Rich, there are people who would kill for that, me included, and you were just like, oh, it's fine, just kick it out of the way. I was like, imagine what that's got on it, like, that's gold. But anyway, I think it's survived.
On a musical front, I think when we did the very end of, when we played the very end of Just Because You Can't Remember, that like that guitar riff, and we came up with that, and we were just like, oh man, because we all love that kind of vibe, that kind of.
You mean like
very
I played on the radio show tonight.
Oh, did you? Oh, brilliant. Because it's one of my favorite tracks on the album at the moment. But when we were playing that, and we were just like, I just wanted to keep on going. We were just sitting there going, oh, it's just this, it just really ticks a lot of boxes for us, and we were just, it just came out of nowhere. I think that was actually one of those things that was written in the studio as well, wasn't it? It just kind of like, it was like, oh, we need something really transcendent and beautiful to kind of go after that really heavy, kind of almost industrial sound. And it just came out, and we were like, oh, I think we probably played like 25 minutes just non-stop.
Rich's studio then was kind of split in half, where there was like a kind of a lounge area, and so every once in a while me and Ben would sit in the lounge area and Rich would be working away, and then we'd sort of, after a bit of time, we better see what Rich is doing, and then you just play, and it was like, what is this? You've just created this kind of swan song out of the existing parts, but then you've moved it into this whole bit, and then we just listened to it on loop for like about 10 minutes.
Ages, yeah. It was like,
I love that. That's
it was
like
really hot as well, like really hot weather. Like the sun was kind of like, there's like sort of shards of light kind of like sort of streaming through, like sort of golden hour, and it was like, this is great.
You think that was hot? You want to try the new studio, man? I had this door in the wall here, and I decided to take it all out and just put in a fixed window, and I completely forgot to ask them to put in an opening bit. So I've literally, in this room, in this studio, there's no windows, but there's no opening windows. It's really, really hot. So I've got to get some aircon in here before the. Have you guys been in the new studio? You have.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the very last session when we did the commentary was in there, wasn't it? Actually, yeah. You just set it up then, I think. Yeah.
Paul is saying what?
Rich, what was your favorite memory from creating this album?
I think it was really just every moment the three of us were together after the whole COVID thing, and I've been producing music on my own for so long, and it was getting really lonely, and I really kind of, once the three of us were together, it just felt it was so wonderful just to be working with these guys again and just making music with other people, and they're so easy to work with as well, like we really kind of like, it's just so easy, and Ben's just like, he's just like a machine, coming out with all these wonderful lyrics, and then Dave's got like a million ideas, and it was just so nice being part of a band again after so long.
Yeah,
that was
100%.
The thing through the whole thing for me was that, because when you were just producing music on your own all the time, it's really kind of like, when you're in the moment and you're actually producing it, it's fine, but every time you look up and you realize it's just you, it can be really lonely, and the DJing and stuff, and just working with these guys on the album and being like a band. That's why I really want to take it on the road. I really want to do some really, really good gigs and just have that experience of touring with a band.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, we all sort of know where each other's coming from. There's never any kind of any sort of difficulties kind of explaining what we want to try and achieve on a track, or where this track's going to go, because we've all got, in many ways, it's quite rare, we've kind of got a lot of similar tastes when it comes to electronic music and when it comes to guitar music. We kind of we can talk about references quite easily. It's never a case of like it being a hard sell or struggling to explain to the other ones what we're trying to do, because we're like, just a bit like that, a bit like that, and it's quite rare to get three characters like that and who just kind of understand.
I do like it when you explain your lyrics to us. Like, I'm like, Ben, so what does "an apple grew inside my mouth, now every word I speak is holy" mean?
It's a funny one, isn't it, with lyrics? Because it's like telling people like a dream, isn't it? You go, I had this dream last night, and it's just like, oh right, okay, go on, tell me your dream. And it's,
I'm not interested in you when you're conscious, never mind when you're subconscious.
Yeah, so I mean, with those kind of things, it's kind of a bit like I don't know, it's sort of Lynch, like it's almost Lynchian in that kind of, you kind of leave a lot of it open-ended because you want people to find their own meaning in there. And there are things that are very specific to me, but I would hope people would take lyrics and apply them to, that's the magic of art, isn't it? You kind of, you can look at a Rothko painting, and one person will see one thing and someone else will see another thing, and that doesn't, then no one's right or wrong. It's just that's how you relate to it, either in that moment or how you relate it to your life, and that's what I get a kick out of.
Yep. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. I know.
When Ben
and right at the same time.
Like, say it again, Ben.
Yeah, I know. And Bruno on Facebook is saying music must always be from the heart. Pure for the best, amazing results. Very emotional.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, so true, Bruno.
Loved hearing.
Nice one,
Loved
Bruno.
hearing this. So I know we're coming up on the hour. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and coming to chat with us today. I cannot wait for the Federation drop on Record Shop. Kind of to wrap us off, I know we've been talking about doing some live events. I want to know from each of you, what is one city or one country that you really want to hit with Federation, that you're like really, really hoping to get on the tour list?
Argentina.
South America for me, yeah. Just such a vibe.
Yeah, definitely South America.
We've just got to kick it off. We've just got to kick it off, and then it'll start. It'll be like a snowball. Yeah.
I say that I've never been to Mexico. I'd actually love to see it. Were you in Mexico recently, Rich?
Yeah, I did a record shop party in Mexico. Yeah. There was a State of Trance was happening, and then we did this record shop after party, and the only way you could get a ticket was to have this Solarstone collectible. And we did this mental party in this mental... Oh my God. It was just... it was insane. It was the most underground thing I think I've ever done.
Wow.
That sounds great.
Yeah, Mexico. They'd love it in Mexico. Well, according to Facebook, most of our fans are in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And Obi, the guy who started Record Shop, he's from Mexico. So let's do Mexico as well.
Yeah, be up for that.
Mr. Wright wants to start with Portsmouth.
Yeah.
We'll finish with Portsmouth. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm sure we'd manage to get at least 20 people into a pub there.
I'd quite do a pub like tour. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Just do loads of little gigs, but yeah.
Dreamstate in SoCal. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Fab. All right, folks. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. It's been such a great time. Make sure you pick up that free NFT. You can meet Rich, Ben, and Dave. One thing I think I left out that Paula mentioned, when you do that event on June 30th, it's actually going to be a talkback session. So us who are tuning in aren't going to be on mute. We can ask questions as we're listening in too. So get ready for that chaos. Having some number of hundreds of people.
1,000 people.
That'd be great. I'll be at home for that as well, so I'll be there on time next time for sure. I'll be in my house.
Not in a car park.
No. All
right, folks. Thank you again so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Lovely to see everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
See you at Lumi on a Friday.
Yeah, big love to everyone.
Yeah, good. Have fun in Lumi, Rich. Yeah, have a good weekend, mate.
Yeah, have fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
Cheers, Lisa. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody.
Bye.